Hi, my name is Bianca Xunise. I am an illustrator and cartoonist who makes autobiographical stories about identity and social justice. I'm excited to be here today with two artists, Cam Collins and Rachel Singer, who recently participated in the 3 Arts Bodies of Work Residency Program. As a fellow alum from that program myself, I'll be leading a conversation with them about their work, their experiences in the residency, and the way they situate themselves within the disability culture community. This conversation is part of a series called the Disability Culture Leadership Initiative, led by 3 Arts in partnership with Bodies of Work. Special thanks to the Mayor's Office for the People with Disabilities, including Commissioner Rachel Arfa, and the Central West Community Center here in Chicago, which is one of the outposts operated by the Mayor's Office and where we're filming today. So here we have Cam Collins, is a printmaker, illustrator, writer, and creator of The Way of the Canvas World. Through storytelling and world building, Cam shares his visual language with various mediums, including painting, album covers, video games, comics, and sculptures. Rachel Singer is a multidisciplinary artist, teaching artist, and certified occupational therapy assistant. Her work in puppetry, sensory theater, physical theater, ritual, and dance explores the liminal places of barely tangible worlds where memory meets imagination. Thank you both for being with us today and being a part of this conversation series.
Thanks for having us.
To get us started, in your own words, can you each take a moment to describe your art?
Yeah, so I have many different forms of art that I do. The art is really centered in connection and both connection with the individual that I'm creating with groups of people that I create with, and then also with the audience, and so building that relationship and community there. So my art is tabletop puppetry, shadow puppetry. I do multi-plane puppetry, which is a form of shadow puppetry where there's a camera that looks down and then there's multiple panes of glass. And then I animate these different layers of puppets, and there's a live stream camera that's projecting that on the stage. The work that I do really starts with dance and embodiment, and an exploration of music and my own body to find whatever that starting place is, and then go into a collaborative process with whoever I'm working with. So yeah, that's a little bit about my art.
Do you have a dance background that moved into puppetry?
Yeah, so a lot of my dance background is in social dance, so swing dancing. I did some salsa, and so just having that connection. I also did a little bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
And so having different ways, very different ways of like connecting in embodied ways. And then that sort of led into like my connection to puppets, and I relate to puppets in a similar way.
Very cool.
Nice.
And for Cam, here we also have Citizen that I'll be talking to, filling in for Cam. And can you give me a moment to describe Cam's work?
Oh yeah, so I actually have Citizen here just as kind of, I think in this moment, she knows as much about my work as I do. And she has support from the trees behind her as well. The trees are made of brains. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way before we start. I'd say about my work, I really like visual languages, and I think that's kind of what the world I'm creating is about, the way of the canvas world. I'd like to put stories into different shapes, and by that I do mean literally. I think my current practice is I like to draw the shapes that create a robot, like a larger human form in some way.
Okay.
And then I'll draw stories inside of those, right? And each story is one whole thing, but within the different shapes, it's like separate little nuggets. So then when you put them together, it's like a whole entire body of work, literally. And I was doing this before the whole bodies of work thing. It just happened to really fit in, and that's what a lot of the main exhibit I was doing was. I did a workshop on it as well. But I'd say overview, I like creating worlds and people, and everything they say matters to me. And I'm really the only one doing it. I'm okay with collaboration. I love having other people involved. But everything I see is usually part of my own thing. So the whole world is not my oyster, but it's an oyster doing the artwork with me.
I really love that both of you are breathing life into sort of like these inanimate objects, or sort of like these flat or sometimes 3D dimensional spaces, but you're still, I don't know, it's beautiful to see like your passion and just the spark and the way that you describe what you do. So this is also a great segue because you mentioned the Bodies of Work residency and you both participated in it. Can you talk a little bit about what each of you got out the program? I got a lot of cry sessions, I'm not gonna lie. I cried a lot. With a lot of Zoom tears. I'm an emotional person. I think it's visually clear. But yeah, what did you get out the program?
Yeah, so I want to take this back even before I got the residency.
Okay.
So in 2013, I met Genevieve Ramos at 3 Arts Bodies of Work Physically Integrated Dance Workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And at that workshop, like, we met without any words. It was just partner up next to the person that you're closest to and sit back to back and share weight. And so our first conversation was actually through dance. And so as we were dancing, I thought, oh my gosh, I really want to collaborate with this artist. And so many years later, I was able to invite Genevieve Ramos to be a part of this performance. So the performance was not a solo piece. It was about Genevieve and I and our friendship and our going from our ancestors to the present moment to then like moving into the future and dreaming of a better future.
Yes.
And so we were doing that through there's something about needing community to create and to build worlds. And so part of that process was having time to build a deeper connection with Genevieve. And like, we've been through so much over the years, but having that time to create together, 3 Arts and Bodies of Work really gave us that time to be able to delve into it further.
That's beautiful. That's community. That's 3 Arts. That's what this is. Okay.
Yeah.
Citizen, Can, please. What was your experience like?
Oh, I mean, really big deal for me and really surprising. I never thought that I would have a game exhibited in a gallery of all things.
So cool.
Right? It's like a weird kind of surprise deal, but that's usually how it happens, right? A lot of things happen in life that you really want, and it comes in a way that you would never really expect it to. So in my case, I made this game called Copper Odyssey Museum of Miracles. And the main goal of the game, for the sake of the gallery, and to maybe simplify it a bit, is that you're an angel who is kind of hired or invited by the curator to bring color back to all of the blank white canvases within the museum. And angels, they have their blood is basically made out of colors, right? So that's why he hired the angel to do it. And in the gallery show, the viewer or the player in this way, they try to find all of the blank canvases within the game and touch them. And with each canvas, a new painting shows up. And each painting has its own title and story and little things like that. So yeah, for the sake of the gallery, I had to edit out some of the monsters, and I put that in quotes, by the way. Citizen can't do quote marks, but me, the real person, I'm doing quote marks behind the scenes. I brought those monsters into the physical world, like real world Earth, and they're plastered on the wall behind the player. But yeah, and then when it comes to the workshop, I taught people what I normally do. And it's kind of a thought exercise in that way, where you draw a set of different shapes, and it could resemble a disfigured body or just some sort of structure. And then within each shape, you draw a little story in it, or even draw different stories. And then, like I kind of mentioned earlier, by the time you're finished drawing, instead of each shape, you have cohesive little story in itself, or big story in itself. And I only say cohesive because it's all part of the same structure. It's fun. That's what matters to me. It's fun, and when you look at it, you have more stories to look at than just one story.
Yeah.
And I think that's how life is for the most part, right? It's never just one little thing. Yeah, everything's a catalyst.
Yeah.
There's always way more than usual.
Yeah.
So
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love the way that you engage with objects, and I brought this in my pocket because I'm always this is just pillow stuffing, but
thanks.
I love that you can endow life into any sort of object, and so you can just by looking at it and breathing with it. This is sort of part of sensory theater,
Yeah.
of investigating what is your relationship through your senses to this object,
Yeah.
and then giving it to the audience. So handing out things that the audience can then engage with and be a part of the experience. Yeah.
When did you
Here, I can.
when did you have that moment when you're like, I can breathe life into these inanimate objects?
I'm gonna grab a puppet so I can share a little bit. Tabletop puppetry is one of the first forms of puppetry that I learned. And this is part of what I did in my workshop for the residency.
Yes.
And just being able to take paper and tape, very simple, doesn't cost a whole lot of money, and endow life into this teeny little object that you just can't help but be like, who is this?
Oh my goodness.
So this is Poppy Lolo. It's Genevieve's grandfather.
Oh my goodness.
So it's just a practice puppet, but I kind of love the simplicity of this. And I use my breath to bring, to send it through my body and into the puppet. So
Oh, that's cool.
So just breathing and just that stillness is some of my favorite ways of being. And so for my workshop, I was able to bring together people who normally would not be in the same room, and some people who would not be comfortable doing any theater exercises. There was a professor from the occupational therapy department at UIC who said that this is not her typical thing that she normally does.
Yeah.
And she's like, but it feels so comfortable because you're behind this object and you're working together, and it's such a collaborative experience that feeling of anxiety kind of went away, and then the puppet just came alive. So the people that were in the room were really what made that such a special experience. So having people from the disability arts world that I know, people who are part of disability studies, occupational therapy. There's now an occupational therapy student that I'm working with. Grace Urla is amazing, and she's just been helping me out with all of these different projects that I've been doing. So it opened up so many doors to creating more workshops. So then I did a workshop at University of Chicago, and another one at UIC and George Washington University.
Oh, yeah.
So because of this residency, opened up an abundance of having space to be in the world of occupational therapy, sensory theater, and puppetry, and like merging those worlds together.
How do those worlds merge?
Yeah, so I think that we're all practitioners of being and becoming, and so when I'm working with OT practitioners, I'm giving them a little bit of space to think about how can we be more creative in our practice and connect more with people, instead of just being like, here's this thing, take this peg and move it from one hole to another, and let's count how many. Like, it's boring, and it doesn't have to be boring. And the origins of occupational therapy are rooted in the arts and crafts. And so I'm trying to take my work as an artist and offer that to the occupational therapy world, and also bring together ideas from disability studies that are often left out in occupational therapy.
Okay, so you both are sort of like mavericks in this way, where you're bringing puppetry to occupational therapy, and you're bringing video games to like a gallery. It's an art form. These games are made by artists. These games are ideas and storytelling.
Like the players controlling the puppet in the sense.
Yes.
Really. Yeah.
I love the imagination here, especially just as a disabled artist. What has it meant to be a part of the Chicago disability community?
Yeah. Being in stuff like this, it makes me feel a bit like wanted in the world. You know, there's a group of people who see what I'm making, or, you know, even see me, right? And they're like, oh yeah, I think what you make and what you want to make would be really good. And it fits in with with stuff that other people do, right? To meet Rachel here and to meet you here too. And even the prompt of, yeah, we think it'd be cool if you and Rachel had a conversation together in this room because you guys are similar, right? I've never really had that moment said to me before, or, you know, to be able to do this is really awesome, really. And not just this specific thing, but I really love being part of this group. So if it means more community and more people, you know, looking at my work and making work with me, that's good. Yeah, it makes me live longer.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes, community does give you the will to keep participating, to be a part of it, to keep experiencing it.
Well, there's two things that come for me. One is thinking about care, and that is the thing that we need right now in the world. And disability culture does such an amazing job of finding new ways to show care and build community, and that it's not just for the disability community. And that is just such a profound gift that we have this container that's been created by 3 arts and bodies of work. Like,
that word.
This container helps us to exist in our fullness. And sometimes I think about boundaries as like limitations, but often boundaries are exactly what we need for creative process. And so, yeah, the disability community in Chicago has been so caring, and I feel so much connection, whereas often I feel very isolated. And so people assume that I don't feel isolated, but I have to spend a lot of time by myself and at home, resting and caring for myself. And that the amount of energy that it took to create and develop this work was at my edge of what was possible, but because of community, I was able to like keep going. So many people, I think there were maybe around 15 people that really helped me throughout this process.
Yeah, no, I think the lonely, like, people think that people have to make art in isolation. You know, there's kind of this myth of loneliness, you know. But I should also name the gallery I did my stuff at is Center for Mad Culture. And I went to a few workshops there, right? And to just be around a table of people making things, you know, through a certain prompt, things like that, with Matt Baudet kind of running the workshops. I really enjoyed that. And a lot of mentorship as well, mentorship and learn. I think being able to be someone who feels like they need to learn more, which is always the case. No matter how smart you are, there's always more to learn. Being in that position, I think, is helpful for everyone, really, in any community, disability or not. I just think it's good.
You're kind of like, oh, we should always be helping each other this way. I should be honest that I need this type of support, Yeah. It would be, it's like utopian to think, but it's like, oh,
Yeah.
imagine that world though. It's hopeful, but it's the hope we need. Like, imagine that world and it challenges me. I was given this support, this community, this love through this program. How can I now, and now I've had this chance to carry it, how do I pass it? How do I pay it forward to other artists and seeing where that community is needed? Do you two have some questions for each other?
Yeah. Do you prefer doing larger puppets or small puppets, and why? I saw that you did like a 6-foot puppet at one point. Do you like the bigger puppets because more people can work on it, or? Yeah, I kind of want to know what your level of pleasure for puppet size is.
Yeah. So that's such a good question. I have worked on all different sizes. I worked on a show, Don Chipotle, many years ago, and that one of the puppets was a giant dragon train, and that was like 15 feet and barely made it out of my apartment because it was so big, and I was like, oh, that inch, perfect, got it through the door. I'm moving more into smaller puppets, lighter puppets, because physically it's difficult to, even holding that puppet for a long period of time is difficult. And so it's nice to have light puppets. And I think that's the goal of most puppeteers, is to have like a manageable puppet that's not too heavy. I also enjoy the articulation that you can have in a smaller puppet versus giant puppets, because giant puppets are just more difficult to make lifelike. But I like them big enough so like 3 people can be moving them. And then also with shadow puppetry, there's multiple people who are involved with doing that. So it's still collaborative, but yeah, like doing watercolor painting that's then projected, playing with sand and projecting that. So having different kinds of materials to work with. Yeah, so I have a question. So for your process for people to engage in your work, what is your starting point of like when you get that thought seed, you're like, how do you think about how do you want people interacting with your work?
Oh God, it's kind of selfish in a way because I don't really think about
Great.
Yeah, I create the characters, and I see it as the characters know more about what I want to make than I do, right? Because say I draw a face on a canvas or a piece of paper, right? Now the face lives on the paper, so of course they know more about it than me. So as I'm drawing it, the face can kind of tell me, oh, well, yeah, there's a house there. There's this thing I really like doing over there, and oh, I have like 5 friends, 6 friends. We usually hang out, but only 2 of them are with me today. That kind of thing. And that's just how I view all creation I do for the most part. And, games are like that too. And I think with games, it's even more direct, right? You create a character in a game, and the player itself, someone other than me, they have to decide how they move and, how much expression they can do. And, but then you're kind of getting into science of how do you make your game able to do that with people and things like that. So I do think about other people engaging in my work, but it's because of the people I make in the artwork, like Citizen, that comes to my mind. I'm working for the sake of the characters that don't exist yet, but they do on the surfaces that I draw on. I'm really speaking for them.
I really resonate with that because, the object, like with the material that I brought out earlier, like you see one thing, you see another thing.
Yeah.
And so there's this life that emerges just because of how the material is moving in the world. And so that's how I create some of the characters in puppetry that I'm working with, where I have some thought of like, okay, I want this to be a grandfather, but then how does that grandfather move? I don't know. Like, it's not, I'm never, as the puppeteer, forcing something to happen, because that's when there's this disconnect of life. And so instead, it's being like a channel and allowing whatever that is, especially working with 3 puppeteers. One puppeteer is not making all of the decisions. We're all collaboratively allowing this thing that feels like it becomes its own entity.
Yeah.
And it makes the decisions authentically versus in a forced, rigid kind of way. Yeah.
That's really cool. It's like you're both like conduits for like
That's the term.
communicative.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like for your characters, like they exist, but you exist to like be the mouthpiece of their story.
Yes.
So what's next for you two? What are you planning? What are you scheming? What are you hopeful for? What do you want to build?
Yeah, so I'd say immediately right now, I'm actually I'm writing more character biographies for the things in my game. A few people have actually, like, oh, I want to know more about the character. You know, they talk to me, but I don't really know them. So I'm indulging in that, and I'm writing biographies for all 85 characters that are within the game right now.
Wow.
So it's going to be a big update. I hope to finish it before the end of October. In the future, I'm working on another story where it's a group of students that have to leave a burning building, and they can either leave it through going through the bottom or the top. But yeah, that's one thing I'm excited about working on.
What about you, Rachel? What's next?
There's the performance work, and then there's the workshops that I'm developing. So one of the workshops a series that I'm developing is on executive functioning skills and puppetry and physical theater.
Ooh.
And how do we get to practice those skills without framing it in a medical model perspective. So even though this is occupational therapy, it doesn't have to be thinking about like, oh, we need to fix you, like there's some kind of thing that's broken. Like, we're just practitioners of being and becoming, and this is using this as an opportunity to grow and gain skills in a beautiful, imaginative, playful way.
Yeah.
So that's the workshop that I'm developing. And then I'm also working on, so Eve of a Great Remembering is the name of my show, and it's been a work in progress for a while. And I think what it's turning into is sort of a series instead of just like one thing.
Okay.
And so I want to bring people into remembering, into these places of remembering. And so with Genevieve and I, we were going into these places of remembering our ancestors, like me remembering my ancestor who was a scribe, and Genevieve remembering her grandfather who was an artist. And then going into connection and then community. But I'm very curious, this interview process that I did with Genevieve and with her family was so powerful that I'm very curious to see, can I get a group of, maybe multiple groups of artists together to be in this interview process of asking someone, what memory do you want to bring into the world and share with people, and have artists to support you in bringing that into the world. So having musicians and puppeteers who are, and physical theater and dance, any kind of constellation of artists that somebody wants to work with, to be able to bring their sacred memory or remembering into the world. And I think that is part of that is the healing that I see in the world that is necessary of building connection and listening to each other's stories and
Yes.
understanding
Yes.
why. What is this to you? What does this mean? And so I just sitting with Genevieve and understanding her better and asking like so many questions, even though we knew each other for so long, it gave me this beautiful insight. And so
Yeah.
I want to create that with more people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see that.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible. Both of your stories are still about like the transformative process of experiencing.
Yeah.
A lot of our ancestral stories are often traumatic, and we carry that trauma generationally, and we transform and see how can we make it better. How do we process it through our art? Yeah, the art speaks to it. It's so cool to be alive right now and to see the type of work that is being made through bodies of work, through three arts in Chicago, best city in the world, coolest artists in the world,
Oh, thank you.
especially you. Where can people find you after this?
You can find me on Instagram at Practice of Imagination.
Very cool. What about you, Karen?
You can find me on Collins_Cameron on Instagram. I also have a website, just camcollins.us. You can find all of my games on Steam and itch.io, any of the like little game platforms. If you look up Copper Odyssey, you may find it there.
Thank you for Three Arts for having us, giving us this opportunity to have this conversation. I'm excited to see what stories you guys tell in the future,
Thank you.
because that's how we're going to keep it alive. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.